Pennywise. It is an ancient, shape-shifting cosmic entity whose preferred form is a clown that terrorizes the town of Derry, Maine. Everyone thinks they know the clown. Choleraphobia, red balloons, Tim Curry giving a generation of kids permanent trust issues. But you're missing the point. The clown is just an appetizer. It's a marketing gimmick. Pennywise is what you get when a color from out of space gets a degree in theater arts and a minor in psychological warfare. This thing isn't just a monster. It's a predator that feeds on the abstract concept of fear itself. It doesn't just eat children, it marinates them in terror first. Because, as it says, frightened flesh is delicious. It is a psychic vampire whose true form is a writhing, chaotic mass of orange light called the Deadlights, a sight so cosmically wrong it instantly obliterates your sanity. It crash-landed on Earth millions of years ago and has been treating the town of Derry as its personal pantry ever since, waking up every 27 years to gorge itself. It's not just a creature, it is a fundamental part of the town's ecosystem, a kind of spiritual cancer woven into the very soil. It can be a leper, a werewolf, your dead brother, whatever will make your heart beat the fastest. It's a walking, talking, bespoke nightmare generator, and the only thing that can fight it is the power of childhood imagination, which is like trying to fight a tank with a well-written poem.
The Overlook Hotel. This is a sentient, malevolent hotel in the Colorado Rockies that is haunted by the ghosts of its violent past. A building isn't supposed to hate you. It's supposed to be wood and plaster and pipes. But the Overlook has opinions. And its opinion of humanity is very, very low. This isn't just a haunted house. It's a psychic slaughterhouse that has been soaking in decades of murder, suicide, and misery. And it has developed a taste for it. It's a trap. A beautiful, isolated, grand old trap that lures people in with the promise of a fresh start, and then slowly, methodically, sandpapers their sanity down to a raw nerve. It doesn't just show you ghosts. It weaponizes your own weaknesses against you. Are you a recovering alcoholic? Here's a fully stocked bar and a ghostly bartender who knows your name. Got a strained relationship with your family? The hotel will whisper in your ear just how much better things would be if you just corrected them with an axe. It is a master manipulator, a genius of psychological erosion. The ghosts are just its puppets. The topiary animals that come to life are just its party tricks. The real monster is the hotel itself, the wallpaper, the carpets, the goddamn elevator. It's a living, breathing entity that wants to absorb you, to make your tragedy another layer in its long, bloody history. It doesn't just want to kill you, it wants you to become a permanent part of its collection.
Randall Flagg. He is a demonic sorcerous being who serves as a recurring antagonist across Stephen King's multiverse. Forget monsters that hide in the dark, this one walks in the daylight, and he's got a hell of a smile. Randall Flagg isn't a creature, he's an idea. He's the grinning denim-clad embodiment of every dark, selfish, violent impulse that humanity tries to pretend it doesn't have. He's the guy who shows up after civilization has already tripped and fallen, and he offers to help you up just so he can pick your pocket while you're thanking him. He's the walk-in dude, the dark man, the ageless stranger. And his magic isn't about fireballs and spells, it's about finding that tiny, rotten spark in the human heart and fanning it into an inferno. After a super flu wipes out 99% of the population in the stand, he doesn't conquer the survivors, he recruits them. He sets up shop in Las Vegas, where else, and builds a society based on absolute freedom, which is really just a pretty word for chaos. He lets the rapists rape and the murderers murder because he understands the fundamental ugly truth that a lot of people don't want to be saved, they want permission. Flagg is the ultimate cosmic enabler. He's a supernatural demagogue who knows that the easiest way to rule people is to tell them that all their worst instincts are not only okay, but righteous. He is the smiling, reasonable, friendly face of pure, unadulterated evil.
Annie Wilkes. She is a former nurse and obsessive fan who holds her favorite author captive in misery. There are no demons here, no ghosts, no ancient evils from beyond the stars, and that's what makes this so much worse. Annie Wilkes is the monster that lives next door. She's the proof that the most terrifying things in the universe don't come from other dimensions. They come from the twisted, broken parts of the human mind. She is Paul Sheldon's #1 fan. And for an artist, there is no greater horror. She rescues him from a car wreck, nurses him back to health, and then reveals that his recovery is entirely conditional on him writing a new novel that meets her exact, unhinged specifications. She is a living, breathing embodiment of toxic fandom. Her love isn't adoration, it's ownership. She doesn't love the artist, she loves her idea of the artist. And any deviation from that idea is a personal betrayal that must be punished severely, with a sledgehammer if necessary. The horror of Annie Wilkes is the horror of complete and total helplessness. She is your caretaker and your torturer, your savior and your jailer. She controls your food, your medicine, your entire world, which has shrunk to the size of a single bedroom in a remote Colorado farmhouse. She is a goddess of a tiny, miserable kingdom of one, and her mood swings are the mist creatures. This is a collective term for the interdimensional fauna that enters a small town through a rift in reality. The Arrowhead Project. Some brilliant military minds decided to punch a window into another dimension, probably to see if they could weaponize whatever was on the other side. Well, they could. Congratulations, gentlemen. The problem with opening a door is that you can't always control who or what comes through it. First comes the mist itself, a thick, unnatural fog that rolls in and cuts a small Maine town off from the entire world. It's like the humid air on a Hanoi night, but 1,000 times thicker and filled with things. At first you just hear them, skittering sounds, slithering, things that are too big to be making noises that small. Then you see them, the gray widows, spiders that shoot acidic webbing,
the taro buzzards, leathery bird things that treat plate glass windows like they're made of cellophane. And that's just the wildlife. The real horror is the glimpse you get of the ecosystem they came from. The colossal, six-legged behemoths that walk above the mist, so vast their footsteps shake the ground, indifferent to the tiny creatures and humans being devoured below them. These things aren't evil. They're just animals. And we've just become the new, soft, screaming food source that has wandered into their territory. This is the horror of being knocked off the top of the food chain by a completely different food chain.
Kurt Barlow. He is an ancient and powerful vampire who arrives in the town of Salem's Lot to create a new nest. Forget your tortured, romantic, sparkly vampires who write bad poetry and mope in castles. Kurt Barlow is a plague. He is a walking, talking piece of the original, unfiltered nightmare. He doesn't want your love. He wants your throat. He doesn't move to Salem's Lot because he likes the architecture. He moves there because it's a quiet little town full of cattle that walk on two legs. Barlow is old, ancient. He speaks in a language of guttural clicks and hisses, because English is a fleeting modern convenience to him. He doesn't need to be charming. He doesn't need to be seductive. He is a force of nature, a predator of absolute purity. When he arrives, he doesn't just feed, he invests. He sets up shop with his human familiar, a Renfield who does the daylight bidding, preparing the way for his master's conquest. Then, night by night, the town begins to turn. It's a slow, quiet apocalypse. A neighbor doesn't come out of their house. A child goes missing. Then, they show up at your window, floating, smiling, and asking to be invited in. Barlow is the CEO of a multi-level marketing scheme, where the product is damnation, and he is a master of his craft. He is the alpha predator, a creature of pure, undiluted evil that reminds you what a vampire is supposed to be, a monster. The Langoliers. They are a species of cosmic scavengers that consume the past itself. This is what happens when Stephen King writes a physics problem. A group of people on a red-eye flight wake up to find that most of the other passengers have vanished, leaving behind their watches, their jewelry, their surgical pins, everything but their bodies. They've flown through a rift in the time stream and arrived in yesterday. A dead, silent, stale version of yesterday. The food has no taste. The matches won't light. The air has no energy. It's a used-up world, an empty echo waiting to be deleted. And the Langoliers are the garbage disposal crew. They are not monsters in the traditional sense. They are a function of reality. They are time's cleanup service. They are fuzzy, black, spherical things with white mouths full of spinning, saw-like teeth, and their purpose is to eat the past to make way for the future. You don't fight them, you don't reason with them. They are as inevitable as erosion. The horror here is purely conceptual. It's the terror of being stuck in a world that has expired, a world that is literally being unmade around you by creatures that are just doing their job. They are the sound of a clock ticking, amplified into a world-devouring roar. It is the most terrifying and literal deadline in all of fiction.
The Crimson King. He is the ultimate evil in Stephen King's multiverse and the final adversary in the Dark Tower series. This is it. The final boss. The one behind the curtain. Pennywise, Flagg, all the others, they are just symptoms. The Crimson King is the disease. He is the spider at the center of the web, the insane God King of Chaos who sits trapped at the top of the Dark Tower, the physical axis upon which all realities turn. And his singular, all-consuming goal is to bring it all crashing down. Why? Because he's insane. Not a charming, quirky insane, a profound, fundamental, universe-breaking insane. He is the embodiment of entropy, the Lord of Discordia, a being of immense power whose grand ambition is to uncreate everything and rule over the resulting darkness. He is so powerful and so mad that he erased himself from his own story, leaving behind only his red, glaring eyes. He sends out his minions, vampires, demons, low men in yellow coats to break the beams that hold up the tower, not with brute force, but with technology, with corruption, with decay. He is the ultimate horror, because he's not just a monster you can fight. He is a force that is actively trying to end existence itself, to pull the plug on the multiverse and watch it all drain away into nothing. He is the final, terrifying answer to the question, what happens when God goes mad?